Let's get recording. Y'all have successfully been muted. And today's practice is going to be a slow, kind of a power slow flow. But it's going to be slow. So that's the important thing. And I've just designed it to where you don't need to have props if you don't have them. But if you want to have a block on standby, or we are going to do some seated poses at the end of the practice. So if you know that you like to have a blanket or a cushion to settle your sweet little derriere onto, absolutely have all the gear you'd like on standby. Let's begin in child's pose, please, starting in balasana. So good to have everybody. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you on the screen. So good to have everybody joining us this morning from all over. It's cold and gray and damp in northeastern Oklahoma. So as much as I want to just kind of nest in by the fire this morning, I also got this tug of war going on because I also know I need to move my body and I need to move my breath. But I really don't want to go outside. So we're going to make sure we hit those 2 points today. Hi, Kathy. Good to have you on the screen. I just muted you. We're starting in child's pose. So once you get your hips settled into your heels, give yourself 3 deep breaths, filling up your lower back with breath, maybe even feeling your skin broadening, widening, and filling up your mid-back with breath, encouraging your ribs to expand everywhere at each point where your ribs connect to your spinal column, your vertebral column, there's a joint there. And so in theory, anywhere we have a joint in our body, there should be some mobility. So see if you can't physically feel your ribs expand and your spine even elongate slightly as you inhale. And then your last breath, just a full 360-degree breath, filling up your lungs all the way around, medial, lateral, posterior, and anterior. There you are, Kathy. Good to see you on the screen. Great. And then take your arms forward if they're not. We're going to go into Parshva Balasana. Parshva is side or flank. So let's sweep our arms over to the left. Good to see Sophie on the screen. Good. And we'll stay here for 5 deep breaths. Reaching your right arm and your right fingertips towards the top left corner of your mat. And if it suits you, you can press your left hand into the floor to give yourself a little nudge into your right side body, into your right ribs. If child's pose doesn't feel good for you this morning, if knees are a little cranky, you can absolutely do this seated. Just give yourself a side stretch to the left from a seated position. You can sit on a cushion or a chair. So I'm not rushing you, but just so you know what's happening next, after your 5 breaths in child's pose, that side child's pose, I'm gonna have you sweep your torso and your arms back down the middle, lift up onto your knees and slide your right hand forward slightly. So now you're prepped for thread the needle to the right. Take your left arm onto the floor, thread it between your right knee, right hand, and come on down for thread the needle. And we'll let's take 5 or 7 breaths here. So take a little longer to breathe some juice into our spine as we rotate. And of course, in thread the needle, you can have your hips high, or you can keep your hips to your heels and do a version of thread the needle that would maybe target the deltoids a little more than the thoracic spine. So you choose what feels right for you. And if you're seated, you can always just bring your left arm across your chest like so. And give yourself a shoulder stretch. Good. And then from your threading of the needle, slowly bring yourself onto your hands and your knees again. Let your spine undulate maybe once or twice, arching and rounding. Oh, once or twice. Yeah, great. And then rock back into Balasana, child's pose. Let's take 3 breaths. Balasana. Waking up slowly and deliberately. And as you're ready, you'll sweep your arms and your torso over to the right, taking your sternum over your right leg, sweeping your left arm out and around until it comes up on the diagonal, reaching towards the top right corner of your mat. And if it suits you, you press your right hand into the floor. And as you lean into your left rib basket, there's a lean and a reach happening. Leaning into your left rib basket, but yet reaching your left arm to the right. Okie dokie, we'll come into the twist. So make your way back to the midline. Slowly lift up onto your left hand. So now you're ready to thread your right arm between your left hand and left knee. And remember, taking any version or variation of this shape that suits your body. Good. And then unthread your right arm, returning to hands and knees. Great. Let's do 1 breath in child's pose. Just rock back. Give yourself a full breath in and a complete breath out. Bringing an end to that sequence. And then slowly sprouting like a little seed, lift up onto your hands and your knees and take your hands forward, walk your feet back, come down onto your belly. Get the shoulders prepped a little more before we do downward dog and start a vinyasa. Great. So down on your belly, I'm going to have you take your left hand, bend your left elbow, take your left hand to the floor and rest your forehead on your left hand. Take your right arm out to the right like a cactus, palm down. And if you want to turn your head and look to the right, that's fine if that's okay on your neck. But either way, what I'm going to have you do is on the inhalation, press your right hand and forearm into the floor with all you've got. Press, press, press. And then as you exhale, you're going to float your right arm up. Keep the elbow down. Just pivot on the elbow, float your right hand, wrist, and forearm up. Probably not going to come up very high. And then as you exhale, bring your forearm and hand to the floor again and press, 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 press. And then inhale, elbow stays down, and just lift your hand. That's it, Bruce. Good. Keep your hand in line with your forearm. Good. And let's go 3 more times for a total of 5. Press, press, press. So everybody can kind of take a look. Notice how tempting it is to sweep your palm up off the floor and extend your wrist. I want you to keep your fingers, wrist, and elbow in the same plane. Good. 2 more times. Press firm, and then just lift up the forearm. If you're going to identify, distinguish the muscles, maybe you have to name the muscles, unless you're an anatomy geek, go for it. But identify, get a sense of feel for the muscles that are really activating and firing off around your scapula, around your shoulder girdle, around your rotator cuff group. Excellent. Okay, good, everybody. So after 5 times, then you're going to switch arms. Take your right hand underneath your forehead and take your left arm out to the left like a cactus. Palm down. And then you're going to press down, press, 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 and then just keep the elbow down and lift your hand, wrist, and forearm up. Good. And keep going 4 more times. Keeping your hand in the same plane as your elbow. Yeah, good adjustment, Sonia. Good. It feels like we should be able to go higher, right? But no, you got to really just, it's very intentional, very deliberate. And maybe you can discern which arm, which shoulder has a little more fluidity, a little more range of motion, a little more freedom, which shoulder feels a little more resistant. Elbow stays down, just the forearm, wrist and hand peels up. Excellent. And after you've done that 5 times, draw your elbows in until they're underneath your shoulders. And let's come into Sphinx pose. Forearms on the sticky, elbows down, forearms, hands down, and just begin to peel your forehead, chin, chest up off the floor, just a low Sphinx. Great. Good. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Sphinx. Excellent. Bring yourself back down to the mat, please. And we're going to come into forearm staff, called forearm plank in the vinyasa culture, forearm staff. So walk your feet back. If it feels okay on your lower back, lift your knees up. If your low back is like, not today, keep your knees down. Totally legit and a legal way to practice. If you have your knees up, I'm going to give you a little additional challenge if you choose to accept it. Separate your feet 6 inches, spin your heels to the left, and take 3 breaths, keeping both forearms firmly connected to your sticky mat. You're twisting through your midsection, twisting through your obliques and ribs. And then spin your heels to the right. So you're on the instep of your left foot, outer edge of your right foot. This is optional, not a mandatory part of the practice. And of course, you know, when you practice with me, nothing is mandatory except that you move your breath. Come to the balls of your feet once more. 1 more full breath in forearm staff. And then lower your body to the mat. Rise up into cobra. If it feels okay on your back, press into your hands. Bring yourself up a little higher, but always listening to your body. Excellent. And then, Cindy, hilarious. And then let's all find our way to downward facing dog, please. Shoulders are awake. So let's see how it feels, downward dog. Nice. Good. If your heels are touching the mat, I'll ask you to take your feet back another inch or two. Give yourself somewhere to go. If your heels are more than 2 or 3 inches away from the floor, bring your feet forward an inch. So you got to find that happy middle way. Sandy, take your hands just a fraction farther apart for me. A little bit wider. Yeah, good. And rotate those shoulders away from your head and neck. Yes. Oh my gosh. Fantastic. Nice external rotation. So from downward dog, we're going to come into a low lunge with our right foot. So take your time, identify how you want to get your right foot forward, and then make it so. Chunk it up there, swing it up there, step it up there, drag it up there, whatever works for you this morning. We're going to bring the left knee down. Once you get your right foot forward, I'm just going to have you walk your right foot over to the right edge of your sticky and bring your hands to the inside of your right foot, fingertips to the floor. And we're going to pause in this low lunge for a couple of breaths. Get a light on. Ooh, hello. Excellent. Bring your hands to your right knee. You can begin to lift yourself up. We're just going to come into a couple of arm variations. Take your forearms out in front of you with your elbows bent. We're going to take the left elbow underneath the right elbow for Garudasana, eagle pose, just with the arms. See that your elbows are in the same plane as your shoulders. So not too high, not too low, but right there in that even level plane. And then press your elbows forward, press your forearms forward. And breathe into your rhomboids. Those are the muscles between your scapula that bring between your scapula and your spine. I think of those as the back door to your heart chakra. So breathe into that back door like you could blow it wide open, like a screen door. Mm-hmm. Unwrap your arms, please. Bring your right hand to your right leg and take your left arm straight up to the ceiling. Bend your left elbow like you're patting yourself on the back. And then you can take your right hand to your left elbow and gently bring your elbow towards your head and maybe a little back if that works for you. So this would be half of what would this be? Gomukhasana, right? Cow face pose. So for the Sanskrit lovers, you could call it Ardha Gomukhasana. Ardha meaning half. I want you to draw your belly in so you're not exaggerating the extension through your lower back. Excellent. And so what's happening next is a low lunge prayer twist. I'm going to have you bring your right hand to your right leg again. Take your left arm straight up once more, big breath. Get as much length from your left knee to your left fingers as you can. And then when you exhale, you're going to turn to the right and maybe bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Or just simply bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee. You choose. You got your elbow there. You can bring your palms together in prayer, Anjali Mudra, or make a soft fist with one hand and cup it in the palm of the other. Wherever you go with this, I'm going to invite you to roll your right shoulder back and see how you might get this feeling of wrapping your skin that's over your left ribs, like bringing your skin along for the ride, wrapping your skin over towards your right leg. Imagining that superficial fascia underneath your skin and like working with taffy, pulling it gently over to your right leg. Great, good. Take your hips a little to the right for me, Kathy. Excellent. Good. And then fingertips to the floor, please. Okay. Now listen, I know we're going to step back to dog pose, but in a minute, before we do that, I'm going to have you lift your back knee, spin your back heel down, and we're going to do 3 rounds of skandasana, right? Those lateral lunges. So pivot your right toes in as you bend into your left knee, left hip. And then gently bring yourself across the midline and bend into your right knee, right hip. And 2 more times, please. Just slowly, with awareness, moving from side to side, checking in with the hip joint, the knee joint. On the third one, you're going to finish up with your right knee bent. We're going to hold it right here. Nice. Now we'll give ourselves a quarter turn to the right. So take your right toes towards the top of your mat. Come up on the ball of your left foot. So you're in a lunge. Now you step back to downward dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Woo-wee. Okay, a couple of breaths in dog pose. Okay. Let's find the other side. So what happens is the left foot goes forward. Take your time, as many steps as you want to get it up there to the top of your sticky mat. Bring your hands, fingertips to the floor, to the inside of your left foot. So walk your left foot to the left a step and let yourself settle into this low lunge. Hug your left knee in towards your left shoulder. But at the same time, how about this for opposing actions, right? Hatha yoga. As you hug your left knee in towards your left shoulder, pull your outer left hip back. And see if you can find the happy medium there. It's subtle. I mean, there might not even be any movement, right? It just might be intentional biomechanics. Walk your hands up to your left knee, please. Take your time. Going to find our balance first. Boom. Bring your forearms up out front. Good. Right elbow under left, Garudasana. Find that plane. Left elbows and shoulders in the same line. Good. And notice if you're really dropping into your lower back. So belly just a little firm, lengthening. Imagine you can lengthen your lumbar spine. And you can. Good. Lift each vertebrae up off of the one underneath. Good. And then here we are, breathing into the upper back, breathing into the back door. Left hand to your left knee, please. Sweep your right arm straight up. Pat yourself on the back with your right hand, bending your elbow, and then the left hand comes up and meets the right elbow to give it a gentle assist, maybe drawing it just a fraction closer to your head and maybe just a fraction farther back. And then notice where your head is. If this action propelled your head forward, I want you to draw the ears back. Line your ears up over your shoulders, please. your shoulders over your hips. Left hand to your left knee. Take your right arm straight up. We're ready for the twist. So we're going to turn on the exhale to the left. Right hand to the outside of your left knee or thigh, or right elbow to the outside of your left knee or thigh. Head back. Oh, excellent. Bruce, very dramatic. That's good. Great. Looking good, Maxine. Nice, Sheila. Good. Look to the windows. Excellent. All right. Unravel. Fingertips to the floor. So we've got 3 rounds of Skandasana to do, right? So take it slow. Pick your right knee up. Spin your right heel down. We'll make a quarter turn to the right. And then we're going to keep going until we bend into your right knee, right hip. These lateral lunges. Feels good. Waking up. The AD adductors, the inner thighs, just 3 times from side to side. Now, personally, I like to keep my feet on the floor. So as I'm straightening one leg, I keep all 4 corners of that foot on the mat, which targets the inner thighs a little more. If you want to come up onto your heels to target your hamstrings, that is completely up to you. Your third round, we're going to bend into the left knee, left hip, and we're going to stay here for a couple of breaths. Open your mouth wide, blah. Unhinge your jaw, unhinging your TMJ. And close your mouth. Excellent. And then let's make a quarter turn to the left, please, coming into a lunge. Now, listen, we're not going to go back to downward dog. I'm going to have you step forward to the top of your sticky mat. Ooh, take your time. Yes, beautiful. Once you get your feet together at the top of your mat, sweep your arms out and up as you inhale. Come all the way up. Bring the palms together at the top of the breath. As you exhale, glide your hands to your heart. Base of your thumbs resting softly at the base of your sternum. If it feels good to close your eyes, close your eyes. 3 deep breaths. Let's feel. Let's listen. Heart beating. Ribs moving. Blood moving. Pulsing. Excellent. Good. Feet together, please. Big toes touching. Inhale. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Take your arms forward into Utkatasana. As you exhale, float your arms down and stand straight up, straightening your legs. Inhale. Bend your knees. Take a seat in your imaginary air chair. And then exhale. Stand up straight. Float your arms down and slightly back. Good. 3 more times. Total of 5. Inhaling. Squatting low. Exhale. Good. Twice more. Inhale. Breathe into your side lungs, side ribs. This time when you exhale, you're going to straighten your legs and fold forward. Yeah. Sorry, I kind of threw you off a little bit. Good. And then when you inhale, I want you to come halfway up. See about keeping your fingertips to the floor, even if it means you bend your knees a little, and float your right leg straight back behind you, hovering right leg straight back, parallel to the floor. Good. We're going to stay here another couple of breaths. If you care to, you can sweep your left arm forward, coming into a preparation for Virabhadrasana 3. Good. Let's take one more breath. Push back through your right heel. Good. And then set your right foot down at the back of your mat. Spin your right heel down. Good. Left knee is bent. I'm going to have you keep your torso directly over your mat. So your sternum is facing the sticky mat. The eyes of your torso are broad. Bring your hands behind your head and just your fingertips at the back of your head. Elbows are bent and draw your elbows towards the ceiling. Then I want you to squeeze and hug the sticky mat with the four corners of your right foot. This is the power part of the flow, power flow. Good. Press your head into your fingertips a little. It's going to fire up your back muscles, your extensor muscles. Nice. Excellent. Beautiful, everyone. Great. Now, bring your left elbow, release your left hand from your head. Bring your left elbow to your left knee. Keep your right fingertips at your head. As you inhale, take your right elbow to the ceiling. Turn your sternum to the right. As you exhale, you're going to bring your right elbow to your left hand. 4 more times. Take your time. Inhale, rotate your trunk to the right. Exhale, and round your upper back, bringing your right elbow to your left hand. 3 more times. Good. Elbow up, and then right elbow down. Good. Twice more, please. Looking good, everybody. Excellent. Last one. You'll bring your hands to the floor, come up onto the ball of your back foot. That's your right foot. Step back to downward facing dog. Good. Now pick your passion. Either stay in dog pose or hit child's pose, or glide forward to staff. See that your feet are 6 inches apart. And I'm going to have you spin your heels to the left. Keep both hands to the floor, please. This becomes about, again, the ribs and the obliques. Legs are straight. Good. Spin your heels to the right, please. Draw your hips towards the midline of your sticky mat. Both hands firmly to the floor. Return to the balls of your feet, and we'll find downward facing dog. Good. Well done. Float your right leg up as you inhale. Good. Identify how you're going to get your right foot up towards your right hand. And then make it so. Either a big step, a couple of steps, come to your back knee. Good. Now, spin your left heel down. Now we're going to repeat that sequence. Fingertips behind your head, please. Elbows out. Your right foot forward, left foot back. Cervical spine, neck is long, crown of the head is beaming towards the wall beyond your head. Back foot is anchoring you to the mat. Release your right hand, bring your right elbow to your right knee. And then here we go. As you inhale, sweep your left elbow up, turning your sternum to the left. As you exhale, coil inward, bringing your left elbow towards your right hand. Whether it gets there or not is irrelevant. And then we'll do this a total of 5 times. Your lower body, your lower limbs, legs, hips, firm, steady, static. This is the sthira of the Sthira Sukham asana. Upper body, ribs are mobile. Thoracic spine is mobile. Shoulders getting more and more fluid with every round. This is the sukha, the ease, the good space of the Sthira Sukham asana. Great. Now, after your 5th one, you'll bring your left hand to the floor, come up onto the ball of your back foot, and you're going to step forward. Take your time. Good. Once you get your feet side by side to the top of your mat, inhaling, coming into Utkatasana. Utkatasana. Exhale, stand up, straight, strong, and slow. Bring your arms down. 4 more times. Inhale, sink into your hips, weight into your heels. Exhale, stand up. Good. 3 more times. Thrice. Nice. Exhale. Looking good. Okay, so you know what's coming on your 5th round. The exhalation, you'll fold forward, straightening your legs. And when you inhale, you'll come halfway up, fingertips to the floor, and you'll float your left leg back, and let's hold it straight back, parallel to the ground, pushing back through your left heel. And then only if it suits you, you can take your right arm forward. Give it a shot, see how it feels. Excellent. Nice work, everybody. Good. And then let's go ahead and step the left foot back to the back of the sticky mat. Spin your left heel down. Windmill your arms up into exalted warrior. So you end up with your left hand to your left leg, your right arm reaching straight up. This is your inhalation. As you exhale, you'll bring your right elbow to your right knee and take your left arm over your left ear for Parsvakonasana. Good. Return to exalted warrior on the in-breath. This time, as you exhale, straighten your right leg and let's find triangle pose. Good. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale to exalted warrior, bending your right knee. Exhaling Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. Big stretch through your left side. Inhale to exalted warrior. Exhaling triangle pose, straightening your right leg. Excellent. 1 more time. Inhale, exalted warrior. And exhale, Parsvakonasana. And then inhaling, last one, exalted warrior. And we'll land in triangle pose, and we're going to hit the pause button in triangle pose for 5 deep breaths. You're doing great, Sandy. Looks good, Melissa. Excellent. Breathing, breathing. Nice work, Maxine. Okay, so from triangle pose, what happens here is we're going to bend the right knee, bring fingertips to the floor so you can square your hips coming up on the ball of your back foot, and you're going to step back to downward dog. Okay, so now remember, you have options here, right? Dog pose, child's pose, or come forward to staff and take any options you'd like in staff, anything we've visited previously, you're welcome to revisit, or spin your heels to the left, stack your legs, and let's come into Vashisthasana. Side staff or side plank pose, it's often called. Bring your right hand to the floor, spin your heels to the right, stacking your legs if that suits you today, and bringing your left arm straight up. Yeah, great. Woo, we got the power in the slow flow. Oh, okay, and then return to downward facing dog, please. This is it. Last standing sequence. You just got to finish it up on the left side and you're golden. So as you're ready, float your left leg up. Take your left foot forward. Ooh. Bend your right heel down. Okay. Windmill your arms up until you find your way to exalted warrior. Right? So your right hand touching your right leg, left arm reaching up. And then as you exhale, Parja Konasana, side angle pose. Good. Exalted warrior once again. Breathing in. Triangle pose, breathing out, straightening your left leg. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale to exalted warrior. Exhale, Parja Konasana. Parja is side or flank. Kona is angle. Inhale. Rise up. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Exhale. All right, last one. Good, nice and methodical, Sonia. Good. Good, and then lifting up last time. Find your way to triangle pose, Trikonasana. 5 deep breaths. You've got plenty of time to set up the shape. Find the sthira, find the sukham, find the steadiness in your legs. Notice where the weight is on your feet, if it's evenly distributed, if you're favoring the instep or the outer edge. Breathe, expanding your lungs, causing your ribs to move with every breath in and out. Great. Sweep your right fingertips to the floor, bending your left knee. Here we go, downward dog. And child pose, Balasana. Finishing where we began. Beautiful. Sink down, sink in. Maybe sweep your arms by your sides, bringing your hands by your ankles or feet, and finding that back door to your heart once more, right up there between your 2 shoulder blades, between your scapula, and breathing into the rhomboids, breathing into the lower trapezius fibers. Well, hi, Sophie. Great. Okay. So from child's pose, please, come up onto your hands and your knees. And bring your forearms down to the sticky mat. Palms down. And I want you to cross your arms, your forearms, and just tap your hands to your elbows. So get a sense for where your elbows need to be. So you can touch your elbows with your fingers, and then bring your palms and forearms forward once more. Tuck your toes under, and let's make our way into dolphin pose. Lifting your knees, lifting your hips. Now, I'd like for your head to be off of the floor. Press firmly into the fingertips, firmly into the base of your palms, firmly into your elbows to lift your hips up a little bit higher. You get 2 more breaths, please. Spin your inner thighs towards the wall behind you. Straighten your legs the best you can. Excellent. Come to your knees. Whew. Come up onto your hands. And then sweep your feet out to one side so that you can have a seat on your bum. If you'd like to have a cushion or a pillow under your hips, of course, grab it. So I'm going to have you sit cross-legged with your right shin in front of your left shin. But I want to give some variations. So this is going to be door number 1, right shin in front of left shin. Door number 2 would be to bring your right heel up high onto your left thigh and slide your heel as far up to your belly as you can. Now, if you take door number 2, I'm going to ask you to keep your left shin parallel with the top edge of your mat so that your right knee rests on your left heel or on the instep of your left foot. Okay, does that make sense? Good. So you do you, either classic cross-legged, I'm having a tough time, classic cross-legged position, it's been a wild weekend, or come into half lotus, okay? So from here, where we're going is fingertips to the floor, inhale deeply, lift your ribs, lift your spine, exhaling, fold forward. And just fingertips to the floor, back is long and strong. Maybe elbows to the floor. Get a sense for where your shoulders are in relationship to your ears. And is it possible to create just a little more space between the two? Walk your hands up so that you're sitting up tall once more. I'm going to have you keep your legs in the shape that you've chosen for yourself. And we're going to twist to the right. Right fingertips to the floor behind you. Left hand to your right knee. Now, if you're sitting in half lotus, something else you can explore is you can internally rotate your right arm, bring it behind your back, and maybe grab your foot with your right hand. Again, not a mandatory part of the practice, but something to play around with. If the foot is evading you, then in your own practice, maybe if you do this class again this week, you could use a strap around your right foot and give yourself that sense of connection. As you turn your ribs to the right, turn your sternum to the right, I'd like you to bring your head to the left and look over your left shoulder. Well done. Let's unravel, unwrap, unpack, unwind. Give yourself a brief, momentary twist to the left. And returning to front and center, now we can unpack our legs and we'll do the other side. Remembering your choices, your options, You never have your back against a wall. And well, I guess you might have your back against a wall in the literal sense in a yoga class, but in the figurative sense, never. It's your practice always left shin out front, if that feels good for you, or left heel glides way up high on the right side. See if you can like dig your heel into your lower abdomen, just to the inside of your right hip point, the ASIS. And then fingertips come to the floor once you have found the leg shape that suits your body today. And walk forward as you exhale, coming down into a forward bend. So you might be in Adho Mukha Sukhasana, right? Downward facing, easy pose, cross-legged pose. Or you might be in Adho Mukha Padmasana, downward facing, well, no. Pardon me, lest I mislead you. Adho Mukha Ardha Padmasana, downward facing half lotus. Lest I get banished by the Sanskrit scholars. I must ensure I'm speaking appropriately. How's your jaw doing? Maybe a little wiggle wiggle to your mandible. Oh, okay, let's come on up. You're going to twist to the left this time, keeping your legs in the shape that you've chosen for yourself. Left fingertips to the floor behind you. Right hand sweeps across your body and finds a landing zone on the left knee or thigh. And remember your options. Maybe you experiment with internally rotating your left arm, bringing your left arm behind your back, reaching for your left foot. Now we would be adding a bind into the mix. So what would that be? That would be Ardha Baddha Padmasana. Oh, but then we've got to put the twist in there. Oh, it's getting too complicated. Turn your ribs to the left, draw your left shoulder back, and turn your head to the right. So yoga teachers on the screen, if you can name this pose in Sanskrit, I want to hear about it in an email. You can, like when I send out the recording, reply back. Reply black. Oh my goodness. I might need some coffee. Let's take a couple more breaths. Draw your belly in just a little bit. Okay, great. And unwrap your upper body. Give yourself a twist to the right. Return to center. You'll take your legs forward, straight out in front of you. Feet together. Find your sitting bones. And I mean, even like lean to one side and grab some cheek meat and pull it out away, pull it like off to the side. Really get situated on those tubers. And then let's inhale and take our arms straight up overhead. Dandasana. And we'll come forward as we exhale, coming into Paschimottanasana. And let your hands just fall wherever they fall and grab a hold or a holt, as we say here in Oklahoma. Grab a holt of whatever your body gives you to grab a hold of. Your thighs, shins, ankles, feet, toes. And coming on down, we're going to stay a minute and a half in Paschimottanasana. This is the intense west side stretch. The west side being your back body, synonymous with the west front body. Suffice it to say, is synonymous with the east. Good. I'm going to have you keep this shape fairly activated. So flexing your feet, drawing your toes back, and engaging the muscles that support your femur bones, right? Well, especially your quadriceps, engaging the quadriceps, spinning your inner thighs down towards the floor. Notice if that takes your feet a little pigeon-toed. So to counter that, lengthen the inseams of your legs, press forward through your inner heel. A lot going on there. Good. And all the while, breath is moving slowly and deliberately. In through your nose and out through your nose. Good. We're almost there. How's your jaw? Great. Let's slowly begin to rise up as you inhale. Now listen, before we dive into Shavasana, we're going to breathe first. So find a comfortable spot for your body, whether that's on the floor, up on a cushion, ottoman, or a stool. We're going to do 2 pranayamas this morning. We're going to start with kapalabhati. We haven't done that in a long time, but we're in the transition between vata and kapha season right now. So we'll slowly, over the course of the next several weeks, begin, firing things up a bit more with our breathing practice. So we're going to do 2 rounds of 25 kapalabhati, and then we're going to do 3 rounds of brahmari, right? Ears, humming, breath. So kapalabhati, if you're not familiar, brief instruction is we're going to inhale completely, exhale all the way. That's the starting point. And then we're going to inhale again through our nose, exhale about this pace from our nose, like we're blowing out a candle from our nose, right? And the movement, the action's all happening down here in the diaphragm, not up here in the shoulders. So anyway, we'll do 2 rounds of 25. Between the 2 rounds, we're going to pause for a full respiration cycle and then begin the second round. Then I'll talk you through starting our 3 rounds of brahmari to bring ourselves back to right size before we roll back into Shavasana. Okay, so now that you're comfortable, bring your hands to your lap. You can go palms up or palms down, whatever feels good for you. And let's exhale whatever we have in our lungs. So we begin together on the same page. And then we'll take a full, rich breath in together. A big 360-degree breath. Exhale completely. And then here we go. Inhaling. Take it slow. Exhale 25 times. Great. Exhale whatever you've got on board. And then we'll take another full respiratory cycle, inhaling deeply. Now you notice in between your emphasis on the exhale, there's a little inhale that comes in there. That's appropriate. Exhale completely. Now we're ready for round 2. Breathing in and begin. At the end of 25, exhale whatever is remaining in your lungs and then deep breath in. Exhale completely. Let's let our breath settle for just a couple of rounds. Take this time between the two practices to explore how you feel, explore the results, the benefits, the effects of the kapalabhati in your belly, along your spine, through your nervous system, in your breath, your airway. I'll give the brief instruction for brahmari. The tip of your tongue will curl up and settle at the where the top front teeth meet the palate. The in-breath is through the nose. The exhale is a hum all the way out. Hold your ears closed, please, and drop your chin to your chest when you exhale. When you inhale, you'll lift up again. Big breath. Exhale, drop your chin, plug your ears, and exhale. So 3 times. Here we go. Let's take a deep breath in. And begin. One more time. Everybody will finish at their own pace, their own rate. Take your time. As you finish up, with as little effort as possible, make your way into Shavasana with as few moves as possible. Brahmari is like really settling the snow and the snow globe. So without too much jostling from side to side. Find the rest in peace pose that works for you on this day. Come on down, eyes closed. Arms resting at your sides with your palms turned up so that you complete your practice with all of us this morning in a gesture of being open, of being receptive, a gesture of giving as well as receiving. And simply rest. And begin to draw your breath in a little deeper. And let your exhales seep out just a little slower. Begin to animate your body through your fingers and your toes. And maybe roll your wrists and your ankles. Stretching through your arms and your legs in any shape or direction. And bending one knee at a time, set your feet to the floor. And then put some thought into how you want to come upright to sitting. Visualize it. Determine, which side will I roll to today? How do we feel? And then when you're ready, bring yourself into a seated position that's suitable. Good. Great. And then as you're ready, when the next breath happens for you, sweep your arms out to the side and up overhead. And at the top of the breath, bring your palms together and kind of collecting some prana. And then slide your hands to your forehead, the base of your thumbs to your third eye, pausing. And then slide your fingertips to your lips, exhaling and pausing, bringing thought and intention into our words this week. And then finally, resting your hands at your heart. Feeling your heart beat, feeling your chest rise and fall, becoming engaged with the subtleties of your body, the murmuring, the pulsing, the flowing, the fluttering. Thank you so much for joining me and the others on the screen this morning. Have a wonderful day.